I think that's me.
Me? Oh, okay.
Oh, perfect. I think we start a bit informal. Is nearly everyone there, or so we have how many participants in the room? 91.
I can see some face. Please open your camera, then we can see you.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Good morning.
Hello to everyone. Okay, perfect.
Hello.
Luis.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, it's Danny.
Hi.
Danny is there. Perfect. Rolf, greetings to Germany.
Javiera, Aspa.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. I'm trying to fix my lighting here. To be dark.
96. I think we're waiting for number 100.
Oh, Pablo, Patricia, Thorsten. Good morning from Brazil.
Morning from Colombia.
Good morning.
98.
You want to wait until 100?
I think so. It must be 150, or? Maybe Zoom not allows more than 100 people. 99.
99, okay. Okay, 100.
Okay, but we still wait a bit. Rolf, we have how many participants?
Well, in the program we have 145 student participants, and then of course some coaches and mentors and the whole management team, and some X Regions family members, of course. But
Is there still a... What was that?
It was a surprise.
Okay. What is wrong? 101 stays all time.
I think you can start.
Huh?
You can start.
I could start? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, a warm welcome. Bienvenidos, welcome and willkommen to Moving the Cities 2021, live from Brazil. Greetings from sunny and beautiful Porto Alegre in Rio Grande do Sul to Chile, Colombia, the US, Great Britain, and home to Germany. My name is Carsten Schröder. I'm the Vice President of FH Münster, University of Applied Science, and I'm one of the inventors of Moving the Cities and X Regions. And it's one of those wonderful stories around moving the city that a German gets to open an international event live from the Brazilian University. Thank you so much for this honor. Hachi.
So, good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon. It depends on you are in the globe. It's really nice to see you all here, and some of our colleagues that are here in person. Thank you for being here with us and to join the Moving the Cities. I'm Tatiana Rocha, or Tati, as everybody knows me. So I really want to thank you to join us today. And Carsten has a surprise for you now.
Yeah, I'm totally happy to be back in Porto Alegre. Life is slowly turning to normal. But what does normal mean in these times?
Recording in progress.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Maybe someone could make it out. Perfect. Okay, I was a bit irritated. I think that the pandemic is acting as an accelerator in all our countries, and you see what happened on digital times. But how lovely Porto Alegre is, we would love to show you with a short video. Video, go on, please. That was surprising for the techniques. Maybe someone could say that in Portuguese, or?
It will start now. Maybe someone will know.
Porto Alegre, a city that is ready for you. Porto Alegre is the capital of Rio Grande do Sul, the southernmost state in Brazil, a place to invest in, live in, visit, and be happy. With 1.5 million inhabitants, it is one of the richest regions in Latin America with one of the highest human development rates, located in an area with easy access to all of Latin America. The city is very well positioned, and this allows it to be connected to the most diverse countries in the world. The city also has the third largest airport in Brazil, which is managed by the German company Fraport. Transformation is our DNA. The first Brazilian unicorn, GetNet, was created in Porto Alegre, not by chance, but through the city's innovation culture. Here there are 4 technology parks which are of great importance worldwide. There are also 3 innovation hubs that strengthen the vibrant climate of transformation that the city is going through. The origin of this process is in the scientific production capacity, which is of international relevance. Porto Alegre has the best public university in Brazil, as well as the 3rd and 4th best private universities. Therefore, Porto Alegre is an example of the implementation of the quadruple innovation helix. Here, Pacto Alegre was born, an articulation movement that brings together public authorities, universities, companies, and organized civil society, with more than 100 entities represented and today operating 40 projects created by the society. The city of startups. This is what Porto Alegre can be known for. Today there are 1,000 startups operating here, and the goal for the next 3 years is to reach 5,000. The future is now. From the new creative economy to a new public management model, the city is ready for all kinds of investments. Municipal government is reducing taxes and reducing bureaucracy. The Creative Program guaranteed a significant tax reduction for companies linked to innovation and events. The Economic Freedom Law, a national reference in the management model geared towards entrepreneurship, is already a reality. The capital city of a state that is committed to reforms that increase the investment capacity in mobility and energy, improving the competitiveness of companies as well as people's lives. The government of Rio Grande do Sul believes in economic freedom. It also reduces taxes responsibly and implements a broad bureaucracy reduction project, Descomplica RS, which reduces obstacles and red tape for entrepreneurs. Actions that connect to support the traditional and innovative sectors. With Inova RS, the state government created a support network for innovation that spreads throughout the state, and it will receive an investment of BRL 122.3 million by 2022, the largest investment in 20 years. The expansion of digital services allows for the opening of new businesses. Express licensing is possible for low-impact works. The use of a self-declaration processes by companies, and some licenses are even issued within an hour. This allows companies of all sizes to develop themselves here. Worldwide technology companies operate in Porto Alegre. Entrepreneurship in Porto Alegre is getting easier. Creative economy is born in the communities, which are references in local development. Innovation places public power and services in the palm of the citizen's hand. Due to this innovative vision, the city has become a world-class reference in health over the past 10 years. This cosmopolitan city also provides people with the most diverse tourist experiences. A center for rural tourism, it stands out as an added attraction for people to get to know Porto Alegre. From tourism to culture, Porto Alegre offers unique experiences. There are 130 cultural centers, 30 theaters, 50 museums, and 50 movie theaters. There is gastronomy for all tastes, from good barbecue, a Rio Grande do Sul tradition, to vegetarian options. And all these are added to a national-sized brewery hub. This very special city doesn't leave sport aside. Home to 2 world champion soccer teams as well as Olympic and Paralympic medalists, the city is inclusive in every way. The biggest skateboard park in Latin America can be found here, and if that wasn't already special enough, imagine having this sunset as a backdrop. This is Porto Alegre, a place to live, to undertake new challenges, to visit, and to transform the future.
Isn't that amazing, Flo? I'm totally impressed by this city.
I cannot say anything.
Yeah,
But I
okay.
live here, so.
That's the reason
Respect.
why I come once a year here. Okay. In the end, international cooperation is based on people who like and trust each other. I would like to thank a great international project team that was even more motivated by the pandemic. The history and the development of Moving the Cities will introduce you to other team members as we go along. Therefore, I will be brief. It's the third joint edition of an idea to let students think and act entrepreneurially together in order to find solution strategies in current social challenges. This event took place 2019 locally in Sao Leopoldo at SAP, 2020 totally digital, 2021 something like hybrid, and in 2022 you never know what will happen. Today is also an exciting day because we have 2 interlocking events at the same time. First of all, it's of course the official opening of Moving the Cities 2021. If we stay in our time schedule, we will have, after a break of 30 minutes, an interesting conference organized by US 7 about innovation powered by applied science. It will be at the same Zoom or YouTube channel, so please stay at your devices. By the way, later I have then my second very interesting episode today. Who would have thought and made that earlier? I'm giving a speech about innovation cooperation in my region with someone, my co-speaker is currently in Thailand. The strategic cooperation between my university and Enapter is very close right now. Literally, not a leaf separates us. However, it's just around about 17,000 kilometers today. Innovation can easily overcome borders, but they also require first overcoming borders in mind. Before this gets lost somewhere afterwards, Moving the City only works because of many supporters who do all this besides their usual tasks. So please turn on the micros. Would it work? Could you please turn everyone the micros on? Hello, micros on?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, perfect.
Micros, you mean microphones? Is that it?
Yeah, but let only please me talk. So clap loudly, please, for the organization team, the coaches, the mentors, the judges, the speakers, and all the supporters. This was a bit hybrid. Okay, perfect. I don't want to single out anyone here, but without SAP Latin America, we would not be here together either. Danny and Marcus, thank you for always believing in us. So, I think we should start. We are normally honored by having such outstanding speakers on board. The first one comes from Germany and is our Federal Minister for Environment, Nature Protection and Nuclear Safety, Svenja Schulze. She wanted to dial really in live on a Friday evening, but we have collision talks in Germany right now. So we offered her to do it as a video recording. Video go. There she is.
Mr. Schröder, participants, cities are centers of densification where homes, work, mobility and recreation are all concentrated in one place. Cities bring together people with the widest range of lifestyles and aspirations. There is potential for conflicts in this densification, but also for inspiration and ideas that would never have flourished in isolation. And that is also the thinking behind the Moving the Cities initiative. You have joined each other online from different regions of the world to develop creative business ideas for the cities of the future. As Environment Minister, I am especially interested in how we can live well together in a climate-neutral world. The answer to this clearly has to include cities. Neither the Sustainable Development Goals nor the climate targets can be achieved without them. Cities are especially hard hit by climate change. Heavy rainfall and flooding cause massive damages in cities and settlements. Moreover, cities are drivers of climate change, accounting for 75% of carbon emissions and 80% of global final energy consumption, and urbanization continues apace. But cities are also part of the solution. Studies show that it is possible to save up to 90% of urban emissions within the next 30 years, for example with energy-efficient buildings, alternatives to the car, and smart digitalization. This is not only benefits the climate, but makes cities altogether cleaner, whiter, and healthier. Our cities can demonstrate how the transformation to a climate-neutral economy and society works, and this needs strong networks and international exchange, and my ministry supports this exchange. For give an example, through the International Climate Initiative, my ministry supports the Morgenstern Global Smart Cities Initiative. This project involves research institutions from 3 continents working together to improve the resource efficiency and resilience of model cities in India, Mexico, and Peru. Starting out with an in-depth analysis to identify key areas of action, ranging from waste management to flood protection, the project develops financially viable solutions and conducts a regular exchange of experience. This makes the cities more resilient to climate-related risk and raises the quality of life. We still need more ideas to build a climate-friendly, sustainable, and livable world. And this is a mammoth task, but it is also a great opportunity to shape the future. In that spirit, I look forward to your project ideas for people and environment in our cities. Thank you for taking part, and I wish you all an enjoyable and successful Moving the Cities 2021.
I think we could clap our hands here. Yeah. I'm totally happy that she knows now about the project and supports us, and it gives us great chances for the next years. We go from Germany to Brazil. Luis Lamb, Rio Grande do Sul Secretary of State for Innovation, Science and Technology, is a strong supporter of Moving the Cities. Last year, he was one of the main judges. This year, he's one of the welcome speakers. Luis, where are you?
Hello, great to see you. Great to be talking to you. I'm away from Porto Alegre. I'm actually in the US now, so very
that
happy
is Moving the City. That is worldwide. Okay.
Yes, we are moving the cities via technology. I'm in one of the big tech capitals of the world, and I'm very happy to be joining you here. And I pretty much enjoyed this experience that I had last year. And I'm very glad to be here again, supporting this movement. As the minister said, cities play an extremely important role in history. A recent book that's called The Dawn of Everything even tries to rewrite history, putting cities in the center of everything that happened in our lives across many thousands of years. And it's very clear now, even from the sayings, from the statement that the minister has made recently. And I'm changing what I was going to say here because of some of the words that he said, that cities are extremely important in everything that we do. It's very clear now that we have tens of millions of people living across cities everywhere, and all the challenges and many, if not most of the big challenges that humanity faces in this century is centered across human beings, and human beings mostly live in cities, mostly live in large metropolitan areas. And this, of course, poses several questions and several challenges to the fore, and bring to the fore of discussion, bring to the center of discussion all the challenges that we have to confront in this century. And if we want to plan ahead, if we want to have a sustainable world, if we want to have a sustainable place, a sustainable planet, so that we do not have to migrate to other planets as some people are planning, we need to start now. We need to act quickly. We have to be very fast in our solutions, and it's a very great opportunity that we have here with many young people from everywhere across the globe. And these people have the best ideas to put forward, and they have the best solutions to the challenges that humanity will face, and even more so because they will probably around here for the next 100 years. And these challenges that people will respond during this conference, during this event, during moving the cities, will be of extreme importance to us, even in the developing world, where the challenges are perhaps even more severe in terms of health quality for everyone, in terms of sustainability, in terms of logistics, in terms of the environment. So this kind of event brings together a lot of brains, and brains and people are at the center of the new economics. We are living now in an era where at least we understand that the most important factor are the quality of life that we can offer to the coming generations, and how to live together with the other species in the planet in a sustainable way. So I'm very happy to be here, and I give my full support and admiration for everyone that's going to confront the challenge and participate in the several activities that we're going to have over the next days. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm very happy that people from everywhere are united today. And the small hub of organization is in Porto Alegre, my hometown. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Luis. I think we could clap our hands. Yeah. And I promise I come back next year that we could meet personally in Porto, or we met in the United States, wherever you want. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So we switch from the political perspective to the companies. I welcome the CIO of our partner SAP Labs Latin America, Mr. Dennison John. Denny, the digital floor is yours.
Thank you, Carsten. Carsten, can you hear me?
Perfect. We hear you perfect.
Very good. Great to speak to you after some time. And thank you for this invitation to the Moving Cities event 2021. So I'm really glad that, so I'm having this opportunity today because I see this partnership evolving since 2018, when we had our first edition, so when we held that event in SAP Labs Latin America. So as you all know, SAP as a global company, so we really value the connection and exchange offered to students. So basically, working in worldwide projects to tackle challenges in our communities using technology. So this is the mindset that we foster, and this is what we actually want to cultivate, so in our community as well, especially with the students' development activities. And I'm really glad to see that the university environment is fostering this as well. So I'm absolutely sure that, so our future will be about that, the technology that will bring answers to several of our, top challenges. I would also like to, highlight some of the challenges that we are facing in the market, for example, with regard to the technology skills. So this is a crisis time, let me call it that way, with regard to the skill side, where we will be having a shortage of talents, especially in the IT industry. This is not a local phenomenon, so this is a global phenomenon as well. So by bringing this kind of events, so Carsten, I strongly believe that these kind of initiatives to foster collaboration, we are promoting really a culture where we can actually demystify the IT areas, showing how impactful and meaningful an IT career can be. So you mentioned about Porto Alegre and how beautiful it is. So this is, I have made this my hometown for the last decade. And I can certainly say that the city is really fostering that. And we are driving or taking the leadership to meet this, big demand that we have from the market. So we have plenty of opportunities, for example, at SAP Labs Latin America over the past years. Last year, we all know that we were going through an extremely hard crisis situation. And during the middle of this crisis in 2020 alone, we hired more than 400 people at SAP Labs Latin America. And this year is no different. So we are closing in on 500 people coming as, so into the IT industry, into SAP alone. And this is only a small hint of how much possibilities lies ahead of us. And it can only be a small hint of how ambitious SAP as a company is when it comes to, our continued investment in Latin America. I also would like to, reaffirm the big commitment with the investment in our third phase. So this is the building expansion that we have inside Unisinos. So we invested close to 30 million euros in this new building in Leopoldo, doubling our capacity. So with the delivery planned this year, so I'm very, very excited that this space could become, another area or platform for our joint collaboration in future. It will be a really exciting building and a fully sustainable LEED Gold certified building that we would be unveiling very shortly. And this also shows the huge commitment from SAP into the Latin America market. So just for the students present here, so SAP Labs is very well positioned and it's the right place for students to start a career. I'm not giving a marketing speech on behalf of SAP here, but it's very important to point out that, in the beginning of this session, we saw the slides, so we have the best private university in Brazil. We have the third and fourth best, public university, the first best public university, and the third and fourth private university, best ones. And I can also share with you that SAP Labs Latin America have been, day before yesterday, named as the third best company to work for in Brazil. This is competing with all large size companies from all industries. 4,000 companies subscribe to that competition list. And SAP Labs Latin America came on the top 3, and we are the only IT company in the top 3. And I'm really proud to say that SAP Labs Latin America is from Porto Alegre. Yeah. So that's the beauty of our city, how our city is fostering IT and supporting the IT industry. I would like to take a moment to thank all the organizers of this event and the executives who are present at this event. Thanks to UA7, all the universities who are participating, and also Tecnocinos and Unisinos, because you are our neighbors as well. Thank you very much. And for all the students, so I hope that this event would be a great learning and exchange opportunity for all of you. And my little message before I close is, hey students, so you have to learn as much as you can. The market is demanding people like you. Thank you very much. And back to you, Carsten. All the best.
Yeah, Danny, thank you so much. And maybe we could clap. You said that you don't want to make a marketing speech, so I do it for you. As a vice president of a collaborating university, I was so impressed when I take my first step in your building and could breathe the spirit that is in that building. So congrats for everything what you have developed here. The last greeting is made by Matthew Weichert. That is now the hybrid part. He comes to me. You are the program manager of the German Center for Research and Innovation, and you have come today directly from Sao Paulo to here. So the floor is yours.
Hello, Carsten. Hello, Tatiana. Hello, everybody. Dear Consul General Milan Andreas Simondel. So I'm very glad to be participating in this opening session to the workshop Moving the Cities. This meeting is going into the history of the German-Brazilian academic cooperation as probably the first one partly in person since Brazil became the COVID-19 pandemic area in March 2020. We are relieved that we can promote mobility, exchange, and networking in person again. The name Moving the Cities could not be more adequate for this comeback. The pandemic has showed how important it is to change the way of life in cities. The pandemic has also contributed to the appreciation of science as the source of solutions for the highest challenges of humanity. The initiative of Unicinos and UAS7 is an example of how strong the German-Brazilian scientific cooperation is. It also shows that this cooperation is on a new stage, bringing together academic and business people, as well as public administration and society. On behalf of the German Center for Research and Innovation, São Paulo, I congratulate everyone involved in this partnership, especially for keeping it alive in this difficult time. The binational cooperation will have 2 jubilees to celebrate next year. The DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, will complete 50 years since the opening its regional office in Brazil. And our German Center for Research and Innovation, São Paulo, will celebrate 10 years since the inauguration of its facilities. DAAD symbolizes the consolidated cooperation. As the largest academic exchange organization worldwide, it is still changing life of uncountable students and young researchers. With its attractive scholarships for undergraduate students to postdocs, with emphasis on PhD students, as well as with other funding programs, DAAD promotes academic mobility, study, and research stays, as well as scientific and institutional partnerships. Despite the pandemic, more than 400 people from Brazil and Germany, as well as more than 550 binational projects were funded last year by its programs. The VIH, let me refer to our German Center for Research and Innovation henceforth, not only by its acronym in German, but also with a German pronunciation, DVIH, because spelling it in Portuguese, DWIH, or even in English, DWIH, it's not easier. We are part of a network of 5 DVIHs worldwide. It is an initiative founded and funded by the German Foreign Office and is managed by DAAD. Besides São Paulo, there are also German centers only in New York, Tokyo, Moscow, and New Delhi. This confirms how important is the Brazilian higher education, research institutions, and innovation ecosystems are for Germany. The VIH represents a new stage of bilateral relationship between both countries. Our goals are to promote scientific cooperation, exchange knowledge, as well as build networks of researchers and innovators. We foster science as basis of solutions to the big challenges of the 21st century. To accomplish our goals, we organize on events and finance projects of our supporters. I want to highlight 2 of our main projects. One is the Falling Walls Lab Brazil. It's a pitch contest for students and young researchers with innovative ideas or projects, like the participants of Moving the Cities, I'm sure. The winner of the Brazilian lab goes to the final of the competition in Berlin. Candidates from Rio Grande do Sul are doing very well, especially women. Last year and this year, 2 of them were among the top 3 places of the Falling Walls Lab Brazil and won the DAAD Entrepreneurship Prize, which gives access to the DAAD Innovation Week, an international workshop on innovation and entrepreneurship. Next year, we hope it will be possible to promote the Falling Walls Lab Brazil again in person, and actually here in Porto Alegre. The second project I would like to highlight is our DVIH category of the Startups Connected program of the German-Brazilian Chamber in São Paulo. Hello, participants from here. The Startups Connected program offers a great opportunity for spin-offs from German higher education institutions to come to Brazil. We award startups interested in being active in this country, and the benefits for the winner include a market analysis, a one-week stay in Brazil, contacts, meetings, and a temporary place in our co-working office in São Paulo. Hello, participants from Brazil. There are also many categories for Brazilian entrepreneurs in the Startups Connected program. Before I close my speech, I need to mention that besides UAS 7 is more difficult than DVH, other 24 universities, funding agencies, and other organizations are directly linked to the DVH São Paulo as main or associated supporters, some of them with offices and own representatives installed in São Paulo. All supporters have qualified personnel to advise you about study and research in Germany, as well as about scientific and innovation cooperation. My plan was to complete my speech with some marketing for our DVH media, but I had to shorten it. I'm sure that my team has already published in the chat our website, how you can sign up our newsletter and follow us in social media. Stay in touch with us to keep informed about funding programs and other opportunities, as well as the next events from the VH and others between German and Brazilian scientific organizations like this one, the Moving the Cities. I wish everyone a successful workshop full of many innovative ideas. Stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please allow me one question if you're here on the stage. That makes even more comfortable here. How critical was the pandemic for the Brazilian-German friendship?
Oh.
Critical. The pandemic was it? Everything goes really down, and you have to build up everything now new, or?
So we need in our work. So the cooperation, the scientific cooperation.
Yeah.
So the mobility stopped.
Of course, yeah.
But we had yesterday the meeting of our board, our semester meeting, and the follow-up. The feedback is that we cannot start new cooperation, but the old cooperation, the existing cooperation, they could be stronger using digital ways.
I think that we learned all from the pandemic, and I think US7 feels a bit like pioneers. We were the first ones who was coming back to Brazil, so totally honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That you are here today. And I would like to mention briefly that we also have this Secretary of Commerce from Minnesota, state of Minnesota, on board thoughtfully. Unfortunately, Grace is unable to attend today, but her deputy, Secretary of Commerce, will evaluating your ideas, students, in the main jury. So Minnesota is new on board, and we're totally happy about that. So yeah, clap if you want. So that was it, and now we go in the core of Moving the City. And what is the idea of Moving City? Tachi will tell us. And Pablo, of course, from Colombia.
Yes, I'm back.
Let's look at what a great picture when you come on stage here. Yeah.
It's coming the PowerPoint presentation. So Pablo, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so that's nice.
Yeah, that is Moving the City.
Yeah, I just have to check here.
Yeah, you could mention anything from everything here.
Yes, so thank you, Carsten, and thank you again for being here. So we start, Pablo and me, talk a little bit about what is moving the city, because this is a question that always we receive. What is moving the city? What is moving the city about? And then I did last year a timeline and trying to explain where we come to the idea of moving the city. And I started in 2015, but yesterday I was talking with Klaus and with Carsten, and I discovered that it's a little bit earlier that started. because in 2000, I got a scholarship from the AED to go to Germany. And at that time, I met a guy here in Porto Alegre. He was the lecturer from the AED here, Christoph Schum. And this is the point, or the point, because we started to have the connections since 2000. And moving the city is about connections. And then, okay, I went to Germany and I came back. And in 2015, I was working at Unicinos. And somebody asked me to go to PUC, to a meeting. And I asked, what is about? It's about some project with Germany. I said, okay, so I'm going. And who was that? Christoph Schum. And it was very, oh, what a coincidence. So some people will say this, but it's not a coincidence. It was not a coincidence. It was connection. And then we started to work together in a project with the Comung University. So it's PUC, Unicinos, Univates, and the Unisc, so many universities here. And then we had a meeting in 2015. And then I was introduced to another guy, Klaus Lange, from UAS 7. And it was nice to know him. We are friends now. And we started to talk about what we can do, maybe another project in 2016, or how we can go there. And in this meanwhile, in 2016, we lost Christoph in a car accident. It was really hard for us because it was a connection, it was a friend. He was a very close friend. And this was very hard. And then Klaus said, you have to go further. And we had another meeting at PUC again with our friends from PUC. And then I met a very nice guy. I think you know him. It's here, my side, Carsten Schroeder from F. Hamilton. And then we start to think different kinds of possibilities to make projects and to bring students together. And then we start to think about this project. I went to Germany for another conference, and then I spent one day at F. Hamilton with Carsten and looking at the facilities there and what we can do together. And then we start to work. In 2018, we had the first meeting, UAS 7 and Unicinos, sponsored by DVIH, São Paulo, thank you. And we started to think, okay, we brought some professors from Germany. Carsten was here also, Klaus. And then we have an art of workshops. So professors, we can come back to the timeline, please, because I don't know who did this, okay? Now it was, okay, I will not do anything.
We have it.
Yeah. And we had 5 professors from Germany at that time here working together with professors from Unicinos. And the students, they were very excited to go to Germany. And then we start to think, we have to bring students here to Brazil. Not only let our students going to Germany. And then we start to think how we can do that, when you can connect these students, and then come move in the cities. In 2019, we had the first time that we have moved in the cities in this kind or in this art, but it was okay in presence by SAP and Tecnocinos. And we had 15 students from Germany, 5 students from Chile, and 30 students from Brazil working together. It was really nice. And then we come again to the connection point. 2019, I went to US for another project, and I met a really nice guy that is here, Luis Carlos. And we said, okay, you have to work together with our universities here from Rio Grande do Sul, at least from Porto Alegre, São Leopoldo. And then we start to think to bring more students for the move in the cities. And then 2020, you know what happened, because the pandemic, we had to go to digital. And then you have more than 130 students working together from 6 different countries. And they really worked hard. And it was really nice to see that. For this year, this is also new. So this hybrid format, we are, okay, the numbers I don't know exactly, but more than 140 students I saw yesterday. And then the idea from moving the cities, on my side, what I'm seeing is connecting people, engage the students to work together. And then we start with the onboarding last week. I think it's that about what Pablo is talking again. So I just want to say to all the students and the presenters here that the main point for me is working together. This is the way how you can work better. Thank you.
Thank you. To all students, that's the reason why we always call her the mother of moving the city.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I think we switch directly to Colombia, Medellin. Pablo?
Yes, so hello everyone. Thanks Carson and Tati. I'm Pablo Angel. I'm Director of Innovation at UPB University in Colombia, and I'm pleased to be here. And thanks to all of our speakers and allies and universities. So basically, I'm going to present you what's actually what we're going to do this week. And the concept is basically a 2-week virtual team-based project management with international students, and they are going to address challenges based on their cities, regions, and ecosystem. This year, we decide challenges based on the SDG, but I'm not going to spoil it now, and someone's going to come after me and explain that a little bit. But as Tati mentioned, in 2019, and the next one, please, we had Moving the Cities in Brazil. And it was an amazing team effort. It was on site, and it was an amazing experience. At that time, I met Carson as well, and he invited us to join Moving the Cities. Then in 2020, we had a virtual camp or hackathon, for so saying, and it was a very interesting experience. And we saw the potential of doing it virtually. We had 130 plus students from 6 universities at that time, and it was an amazing effort by the whole team. This year, next one, please. We have 145 plus students, 20 teams, 6 countries. Now we have 11 universities, 25 plus team coaches, 10 mentors, and 3 challenges, which we're going to discuss later. It has been an amazing effort by the team. Rol has been coordinating everything amazingly. And the next one, please, the allies, which are here. And as you can see, they're from different cities all over the place. So this is pretty amazing to see this amount of allies, universities, and partners working together. So if you are one of the students that is right now participating, you should feel proud to be selected for this challenge. You should feel excited and thrilled about what's to come, because next one, please. This is the most challenging project in your life so far, and we can guarantee that. You're entering a very challenging project. You're not just going to deal with creating solutions in terms of, entrepreneurship, innovation, and this kind of things. But you're also working in an intercultural team, which has interdisciplinary competencies and skills. It's an international project, so different needs, different opportunities. It's digital, and it's a lot of time pressure. So how next one, please. How we divided the teams is we will have very multicultural teams, and that's one of the main reasons of moving the cities, to have this multicultural experience. So as you will see, we didn't divide them by university or by challenge, but we divide them by regions, by cities, and that's we're gonna have 20 international teams competing or competing, or so saying, for Moving the Cities 2021. Next one, please. So coming back to the past, we did last week an onboarding. We had different types of events. We had a warm-up phase, basically. And now we are going to have the innovation sprint, which I'm going to tell you more about later. Next one, please. The warm-up phase, of course, there's a reference from football since we're in Brazil and in Germany at the same time. This is very important. So we had a warm-up phase, which was learning about doing business in English, cross-cultural management, design sprint. We had also a keynote around the SDGs, of course. But now it's game time. And in game time, you're going to be assessing, next one, please, the digital innovation or acceleration that we, so that was pretty much the warm-up. I did a mistake, yeah. So next one, please. We had around 60 participants on average per warm-up, and it's going to be everything, and all the presentations are available for the participants. Next one, please. So, the previous one. So we have now the Digital Innovator Accelerator. So basically, this is the tool that we developed for you. And Thorsten and Pia did an amazing job putting this together. Felipe as well. And these are the tools that you're gonna follow in order to solve your challenge. You have the explanations in video, and you have also the tools available for you to fill out within the MS Teams platform. Finally, the journey starts here and now. Next one, please. The digital and your coach, the digital accelerator and your coaches will guide you through the development of the concept. You need to make decisions and focus your efforts. Remember yesterday I told you in the sprint session that you need to divide and conquer, and you need to focus on what you want to achieve during this week. And we expect concepts, of course, that are based on market insights. Evidence is key. So we expect concepts that solve actual problems or needs. You're going to have a workload, next one, please, that it's going to be divided during the whole week. So you are going to receive your challenges today, and tomorrow and Sunday will be some fairly amount of work. And then during the week, you can divide it, and you're going to have to mix it within your regular classes and other stuff. And then on the next weekend as well, you will have a lot of work to do before you present the final pitch. So with that, I finish now. And now we're going to go to the challenges. So Carsten, thank you very much. And I'll give you the floor again.
Thank you so much, Pablo and Tachi. And what totally impressed me that we were in 2019, we were also hybrid, because there were 4 teams from Germany, digital, integrated in that program. What a kind of idea 1 year before the pandemic. Okay, we come to something what is new at Moving the Cities 2021. We have decided that we will assign the task of select the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Everyone has heard about that. But before we go more in detail, we were very happy that the German Consul General, is it right in English? Yes. Oh, perfect. In Porto Alegre, Milan Andreas Simando, sounds a bit Austrian, no?
Yeah, Bohemia.
Bohemia, okay, so it's the right reason.
Czech Republic.
Will tell us a bit about SDGs in this region. What you think when you hear about that?
We have about 17 SDGs from the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda, and it's astonishing or not that, let's say, these SDGs are crucial problems as well here in the region and in the city. And perhaps with the pandemic situation, we have, in a way, a focus on some of these SDGs, and 3 of the SDGs have been selected for this year's Moving the Cities. And perhaps I could just explain a little bit which ones have been identified. First of all, it's climate change.
Of course, yeah.
Of course, and I think the Porto Alegre and the region of Porto Alegre is really very interesting in that respect. Second, we have the SDG of education, which is also very important. And third, we have the question of health, and health clear is now very much linked as well to the situation we are in. We are still in the pandemic situation, hoping that the situation is further improving, but perhaps it's curious to know that all these developments are linked a little bit, and so coming to climate change in Germany, for example, but in many other countries as well, we had astonishingly the development that the slowdown of the economy helped a little bit to reduce CO2 emission, but clear it's this situation will change again, and therefore solutions have to be developed that we can achieve the goals to reduce the CO2 emissions. Otherwise, the climate will change, and this will have serious consequences. And for Porto Alegre and the region, it's clear that the city, but as well the region with a huge part of agriculture, the region of Rio Grande do Sul is exporting huge quantities of agricultural products to the world, is very vulnerable. Some weeks ago, we were all afraid that there won't be enough rains to fall, affecting the agriculture, but affecting as well the provision with water and the production of electricity via water power stations. And that was really a serious concern. Luckily, in the last, let's say, 3 weeks or so, there were a lot of rainfall. So probably this situation will not happen in that extent. But nevertheless, it's showing us how dependent we are here on climate developments and climate change.
As I just said at the beginning, I always try, and this was a worldwide crisis with millions of dead people, so it's not so easy to think positive about the crisis, but for me it's always an accelerator of change. Has the pandemic also been something positive for Porto Alegre, that it has been kind of developing idea that we have really now to change something, or?
Well, not much, but I think we all realize that we can do a lot on the digital way, this event as well. And I think that's one of the perhaps developments moving now a little bit faster and helping us as well to save unnecessary travel activities. So we can really do so many things on the digital way. And I think it's clear to everybody that after the pandemic situation, we won't go back completely to the old situation, but we have to learn something out of the pandemic situation.
And I think the acceptance is enormously high for digitalization. Now, even grandmothers who want to stay in contact with their grandchildren have to step into the digitalization now. So I think it's really nice. Okay. So thank you so much for supporting us today and for being live here. What a great honor for us. And what will be the SDGs for the students will now be explained by Thorsten from Germany. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Carsten. The goal of this section, welcome from Germany. Yes, as Pablo said, a nation that is very passionate about football as the Brazilians, but I also believe we can say that the UK is very passionate about it as well. So that is actually a really, really nice metaphor. It's game time now. And to know what the game is about, we want to look at the Sustainability Development Goals. So in this section, we want to provide you a little bit of the background knowledge on the Sustainability Development Goals that we chose, as well as tell the students which goal they will be working on. So as you know, the Sustainability Development Goals are a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future. And it's nothing less than what we are aiming for with this, to make a small contribution to a selected amount of 3 selected SDGs. But before moving to the actual challenges, let's have a look at how we expect you to actually make this impact. Next slide, please. So we expect you to make this impact through 2 different vehicles. And these 2 vehicles are entrepreneurship and innovation. So first, entrepreneurship. We want that you guys, you students, you develop and you apply your entrepreneurial mindset, your skills and your knowledge. We want that you create a bold vision, that you experiment, that you go back and forth, try things out, and in the end, develop something amazing, as Pablo has put it before. And the second element is innovation. We really want that you push the boundaries of our knowledge. We want that you create something new, something so amazing that the judges would, in the end of next week, Sunday, make you the Moving the Cities 2021 winner. So combine innovation with entrepreneurship as the 2 vehicles that enable us to make a contribution to a better and more sustainable future. And now I would hand over right away to my colleagues when we have a look at the 3 SDGs that we will be working on. So we have Javiera, Sunita, and Aspa here, which will go and explain a little bit these 3 SDGs. And we start with health.
Yes, thank you very much, Thorsten. So I'm Javiera, and I'm representing Chile right here, as you can see from my background here. And I will be introducing SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. And the goal here is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. As you can imagine, COVID-19 and its consequences are fundamental here to you to consider to your ideas of solutions. In the right side, you can see some indicators where, for example, we have 90% of the countries around the world that are still reporting 1 or more disruption to essential health services. We have 10 years of progress in healthcare services that could be reversed by COVID-19. We also are dealing with a lack of data about the true impact of COVID-19, especially in the African region where the death registration system is very insufficient. And also, how about health workers? There's an important absence of health workers in many regions of the world, and also they have been stretched to their limits by the pandemic. And so how can we approach these global problems around SDG 3. Next, please. So here you can find some questions that could lead you guys to problematize more in depth the challenges that you have to work with. These questions are samples like how much we help to promote mental health and well-being in people so they can fully develop and grow, how much we strengthen the prevention and treatment of substance abuse that includes narcotic drug abuse and harmful use of alcohol, how might we halve the number of global deaths and injuries from road traffic accidents in our cities, for example, how might we prevent or diminish the impact of global contagious diseases, and another one, how much we substantially increase the recruitment, development, training, and retention of the health workforce in developing countries, as I mentioned before. So I think that's it from SDG 3, and I pass on to Sunita.
Hello, everybody. Well, should I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening? I should cover everybody that way. My name is Sunita, and I'm from the International Centre for Transformation Entrepreneurship at Coventry University in the UK. And I will be looking at, well, you will be looking at education. This is goal 4. Now, the pandemic, just before the pandemic, there was already some growth towards this goal. And we've had at least a decade where we've been seeing increases in education and improvement because of SDGs. However, the pandemic has wiped out 20 years of education gains. So a number of problems around the world in both developing countries and developed countries. And I've had my own experiences because I also have school children, children school age. So some of the challenges that parents and communities have had to face is not just the school closures, but also in developing countries where children have already had challenges trying to get access to education. Now, I must remind you that it's not just children that we are looking at. We're looking at lifelong learning for everybody, because education empowers. Education also is a way of an upward social mobility for a lot of people. So it's a very, very important area, just like with the other goals. So the challenge here is that we have to ensure there is inclusive and equitable quality education, promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. And some of the questions which are put forward to you is, how might we ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education? How might we ensure access for all women and men to have affordable education, especially quality of technical and vocational? How might we increase the number of youths and adults in entrepreneurship? How might we eliminate gender disparities in education? And finally, how might we build and upgrade education facilities that are child and disability and gender sensitive? So across the globe, there are a number of problems, challenges in education. There are many case studies out there that you might want to have a look at, but this is a really interesting area, a challenging area to address as well. So I would like to say good luck, and I know you're all going to do very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunita. And we go to Boston. Espa, are you back in Boston?
Yes, I am in Boston. Hello, everyone. A warm welcome from our city here. And thank you to the organizers. So I am supposed to talk about climate change, and I thought that in addition to the exemplary slides that the team has put together, it is important that we start with basic definitions. So what is climate change? It's the long-term alteration of temperature and typical weather patterns in a particular place. And it can be referring to a location or the planet as a whole. And we human beings have managed to make this relevant to the whole planet. So this is critical, this is important. And why is it important? Because it is connected to our food and our water and our shelter and ultimately our very existence. And as this slide demonstrates, we haven't been doing very well. There was a very clear agreement, the Paris Agreement, that we need to work on the emissions. We have to keep the temperature of the planet at 1.2 because it is already above the pre-industrial baseline, and we are way behind our goal. Now, the wonderful thing is that a lot of developing countries are already formulating and implementing very exciting projects. And specifically, we can all learn from Latin American countries. There are projects, there are the Trillion Trees projects, the World Bank is supporting a number of different nations. So please, be informed about very important initiatives that are happening around the world. But it is not enough. We really need to continue to work. And I know that at times it might feel overwhelming. And people may ask, well, how can I address a problem so big? Is this only for powerful leaders in businesses and governments, or this is a personal contribution? And in reality, it is really impossible to separate the two. Personal actions in international cooperation are directly linked. The interesting thing, as you can see also from this very informative slide, is that there is climate finance. So there is money available. And by climate finance, we of course refer to local, national, or transnational financing, that it's drawn from either private or public sources to support these initiatives. So in other words, we have all the necessary tools to work on this. So the question then becomes, what is next? So some of the important questions that you could be working on in your teams is, how can we strengthen resilience? Really, what will make our communities be more resilient and also adaptive to all of these climate-related hazards and natural disasters? Ultimately, the education and awareness raising is one of the most key factors here. How can we then work on climate change mitigation, adaptation, impact reduction, and early warning? And how could we boost the commitment ultimately and create capacity building in all of the countries in a very equitable way to prevent further climate change on both local and global levels? And I just want to leave the students with one saying that, yes, it is overwhelming, but there is hope. And recently I was reading one of our young activists, Greta Thunberg, who said, hope is all around us, because it would really take one world leader or one high-income nation, or even one TV station to really be bold and honest and truly treat this as the crisis that it is. And so I think that we have 20 teams here, and I'm pretty sure that they will come up with a brilliant solution. So I'm really looking forward to this event. Thank you so much, and back to you, Torsten.
Thank you very much to all the three of you, Javiera, Sunita, and Aspa, for providing us all the background information on the challenges. And without further ado, we want to tell you which challenge you guys will be working on. So teams 1 to 7 will be working on the health goal, teams 8 to 14 on the climate goal, and teams 15 to 20 on the education goal. then we encourage you that from this very second to put your head around these challenges that has been assigned to your team and start sharing ideas, insights, problems that you have been hearing about, any kind of data that you might have access to, anything what you have in your hands around your challenge, start sharing that in your team as early and as direct as possible. May that be in your own team's WhatsApp group, into your Microsoft Teams channel. Just start accepting this challenge and start working on it from this very second. So knowing these challenges now, it enables us to start moving our cities, right? Moving our cities, our regions, and the world together into a particular direction. And it is very important to us that you guys also have a lot of fun. So we are bringing you guys together in interdisciplinary teams, in intercultural teams. We're making it very complex for you as well. We know that, that you're working across different time zones, but all this will be a lot of fun as well for you, because you will be working on real life challenges and you will be working on creating solutions that will have an impact. And it's not to forget that whilst you can be working alone and you might be strong, that together in a team, the teams that we have formed, you will be unbeatable. And I'm really looking forward to next week, Sunday, when you will be presenting us your amazing solutions and when we will have 20 teams presenting the results of these 10-day, basically the next 10 days challenge that we have. And with this, I pass it back, the ball back from Germany to Brazil to Carsten. Thank you very much and have fun.
And yeah, perfect. And first of all, I want to mention I'm so totally proud that we're having new partners in the United States with us. So Minnesota, University of Minnesota with the Twin Cities and Norris is for a long time a good partner of FH Münster, and I'm so happy, Asper, to having you on board with Northeastern University. And we come now from the mother of Moving City has leave the stage, and we come maybe to something, may I call you the son of Moving the City? Because he was participant in 2019, and now he's in the organization team since 2 years. Nice to see you. Gabriel, would you explain us a bit about the rules of Moving the City?
Of course. Hello, everyone. So let's start the show, right? So first of all, your team's already done. You already got your challenges. You already meet each other. You already know the SDGs that we're tackling. So your team is supposed to work on this challenge, and to tackle the solution, you need to have a great approach. Okay. So your concept is supposed to be worked out as an example that works in your city or either of the cities of the participants of your group. So you need to be able to do that, not only in Brazil, but also in Germany, in the US, in all other countries, okay? So how can you do that? So we are expecting a minimal viable product. You can generate mockups, you can do slides, you can do any kind of presentation that you think that it's fitable for that time, which you will know later, okay? So after this week, we'll have the pitches on next Sunday, but before the pitches, we'll have a workshop with me about pitching 101. It's on Friday, 1 p.m. Brazilian time. And well, we won't leave you alone, okay? So you'll have mentors and coaches and specialists during all the week helping you do this work. It will be easy. It seems really difficult right now, but it will not be, okay? It's gonna be really easy. And if you have any doubts, you can contact me anytime, okay? So how will you build your pitches? So you have this problem to solve. You need to tell us, like, how is your problem and how does this problem affect your community locally and globally, okay? So then you're gonna tell us your solution. Why should we invest in your solution? Why is your solution great? So why you should do that, you know? And also the value of solving this problem. I can solve many problems that are not valuable to anyone, so that doesn't matter. We need to solve problems that it's meaningful to people and it will change your lives, okay? But how will you know that? How will you get credibility? So you will get assets such as SAP Qualtrics to do research with your teams. You can do research with your final users. You can do research with your own community in any way you think it's fitable. And then you get this test and show us, okay? And then at the end, you have the next steps and the call for action. So at this last step, you need to show us why you are so great. Why is your solution great, right? And also tell me, what do you want to be in the next 6 months? And Why do you have the type of MVP? How does your MVP changes your solution, okay? And now the most important part for all. You only have 3 minutes to present that to everyone. So we need to understand your idea only in 3 minutes, and then the jury will give you 3 more minutes to Q&A, okay? I will give you a tip right now. You need to leave the columns empty for the jury to ask what you want them to ask you. So that's the first thing that you were getting from my side about this. And about how the structure will work. So first of all, we will have 3 pre-finals, okay? Each pre-final will be about one specific SDG. So each teams will be on this SDGs, and then the 2 top winners of this SDGs will be on the final, where we'll have some experts from all over the world evaluating your projects. And then we'll have the big Moving the City winners. We'll have prizes, like good prizes. I cannot tell you right now because then you'll get pretty much more motivated by the end, okay? So let's keep the momentum going, and that's it. So coaches and mentors, thank you very much.
Dario,
thank you, Carsten.
Thank you. Was my pleasure.
See you guys during the week.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you take part as a student, maybe next year we ask you to come to the organization team. We go last time back to Germany to my team. Rolf, I'm so grateful that you were organizing nearly everything this year and I could have a nice time here in Porto Alegre. Rolf, where are you?
I'm here. Thank you very much, Carsten. And of course, you are more than welcome. It's always a pleasure to be part of this and to seeing this, so to speak, coming all together and you know, all the things that are built up over the last weeks seem to work. So that's always the best thing about the kickoff of Moving the Cities. I would like to talk a bit more about the people who are helping you. And we can directly go to the next slide. Thank you very much. And those people will be coaches and mentors. So it's, as some of my colleagues already mentioned, it will be very important for you to, you know, get some input and get some feedback on your ideas, because there is not so much time for you to develop your solution. So we put together a great group of people that are, you know, as international as you are, and we divided them in 2 big groups, the coaches and the mentors. So, and if we have a look at the next slide, you're going to see we have a lot of coaches this year, and this also makes us very proud to have all partner universities also be visible, and not only when it comes to the participants, but the coaches as well. Coaches are experts. No, please, one slide back. Coaches are experts on entrepreneurship. So they are the right people for you to support you, to develop your entrepreneurial idea. They know how to do this. So if you're feeling stuck, you don't know, you know, what the best next step would be, reach out to your coaches and ask them for help. And as you could might already tell by the faces and the great amount of people we have, they are overall just amazing people to learn from. Most of them probably have already reached out to you, or they will in the upcoming days. So please feel free to get in touch with them. Next slide, please. How can you approach them? We set up some guidelines or some experience also from last year. The main platform for you to reach out to the coaches will be MS Teams as a start. They will have access to your channel within MS Teams. They can see your mural whiteboard, and they can see all the documents that you are putting together. So they are pretty much a part of your team. But please, you know, have in mind that all those coaches, and some of them are actually here, I could also already see the faces, they are volunteers. So please be aware of their availability. They all have a regular job during the next week. So I think a good, you know, benchmark for you would be to more or less, you know, aim for 1 hour a day, and please try to settle with your coach how you would organize your work. Could be WhatsApp, could be in MS Teams, could be Zoom calls. I mean, this is really something that you have to negotiate with your coaches, but please, again, be aware that they are volunteers. And to make meetings most efficient, please also consider to gather all your questions and, you know, build some packages and really get your issues and challenges that you have on point so that you get the most out of your meetings. Next slide, please. So then there are the mentors. Mentors are leading experts on specific topics of your SDGs. So when the coaches are more focused on the actual entrepreneurial challenge, the mentors are there to give you some more insights on the SDGs. They can provide you with first-hand insights into your challenge because that's, for the most part, their work environment. So you have really applied approach there. And there are sparring partners for you to bounce back your ideas. Next slide, please. Also, the main platform will be mostly MS Teams, but again, as you might remember from the onboarding welcome and all the information in between, always double check in our Team Up shared calendar where the actual mentor sessions will take place. Most of them will take place in MS Teams, those sessions will be 1 hour on a set date next week, and there will be a dedicated channel visible for you in MS Teams that you just go in and then join the meeting there. Please also be aware that those meetings will not be moderated by MTC staff. So it's again same as for the coaches. It's really important for you to prepare yourself, be very specific, be focused, and don't be shy. It's really a great opportunity to get in touch with those people because they really know what they are talking about. So enjoy the next weeks, and I'm handed over to you now, Carsten.
Thank you so much. And it's one of the fascinating things when you ask a German vice president to moderate it, that we are on time in minutes. It's 1:30.
Only if you have a Brazilian
Yeah.
at your side.
Yeah, okay. But I think 10% of my heart is now Brazilian and 50% of your heart is always German. So I think it's a good combination. Okay, that was it for the opening ceremony. If you have any questions as students, you know how to act. You bringing a smile every morning in my mind when I see you talking on WhatsApp and whatever. So enjoy it. What makes it a bit different now is that you have to work now and you have to work hard. And I have a free weekend here in Porto Alegre. I wish you inspiring and also transpiring moments to come now. Get to know your strengths and those of your teammates better. Deal positively with change and direction. I'm really looking forward to your content in the main jury next week. Above all, as Thorsten said, grant me one wish, have fun during that week. I would like to thank all contributors once again and say goodbye for the next 30 minutes. Hopefully we see each other then on the US7 conference, which will be hosted, and that is also very nice, directly from New York, from my lovely colleague, Patricia. We see you soon in 30 minutes, and hopefully I get a coffee now or something like that. We can manage it. Okay, so thank you everyone for having here. Enjoy the week, and we see us next week. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
which involves 150 students, nearly 150 students on 3 continents, and they have just been briefed in a big kickoff event, and we are now.
Patricia, we're not live yet.
I know, I'm speaking to the speakers.
Okay. Everyone.
Yeah.
We're live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this event, this part of Moving the Cities, our special event, Innovation Powered by Applied Sciences. We have a great set of speakers, very exciting. We are glad that you could all join us either here on Zoom or on through the YouTube link. We will first hear from the president of UAS7, Andreas Zabi, and then I'll be back with you. My name is Patricia Nobbe. I'll be moderating this event. I'll be back with you after this brief video by Andreas Zabi. Thank you.
Dear representatives from industry and academia in the US, Brazil, and Germany. Dear colleagues from UAS7 and Unicinos, dear representatives of the German Academic Exchange Service, the German Consulate in Porto Alegre, and the Chamber of Commerce in Porto Alegre, and foremost, of course, dear students. Thank you all for coming, either in person at the premises of Unicinos in Porto Alegre, or virtually from American or European campuses. My name is Andreas Zabi, president of HWR Berlin, the Berlin School of Economics and Law, and I'm also president of UAS7, a network of 7 German universities of applied sciences. The UAS7 member universities are among the leading universities of applied sciences in Germany and stand for high quality teaching, excellent applied research, and a high degree of internationalization. The focus on application and practical relevance plays a major role in all areas, in the development of study programs, the selection of lecturers, and in research. We regularly develop new innovative study programs to address social issues that need resolving or work towards closing the skill gap. Subjects change from engineering and economics all the way to renewable energies, design, and computer science. UAS7 faculty is required to have significant non-academic work experience and often continues to be involved in entrepreneurial activities. UAS7 universities are equally anchored in their region and are internationally connected. They promote the transfer of knowledge in society and business and have a large number of partner universities around the world. This is why innovation and applied sciences are topics close to the heart of UAS 7. 2 years into the pandemic, tremendous hardships have been inflicted, as we all know. A lot has changed. New parameters guide crucial social and institutional relationships, and they are all in flux. It is important to take stock of where we are and the new limitations, but possibly also opportunities facing applied sciences. Therefore, I'm delighted to welcome today's group of experts from 3 continents. From academia, that is our friends at Northeastern University in Boston, and Fachhochschule Münster, University of Applied Sciences. From business, that is SAP SuccessFactors from the US, as well as Enapter, a German small and medium-sized enterprise, and speakers doing important work at the hinge between academia and entrepreneurship in Brazil, such as the Entrepreneurship Center Tecnosinos and Pacto Alegre, a regional development hub in Porto Alegre. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to be with us. Please allow me to thank Moving the Cities, a successful entrepreneurship challenge for over 150 students from 6 countries, starting today for the 3rd time. Good luck to everyone. Many thanks especially to Fachhochschule Münster and their team for the splendid organization, and all participating UAS 7 universities and our partners all over the world, to Unicinos, without whom none of this could have been realized. Thanks also to the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation, who provided the means for the event today, and without whom we would not be talking about these important themes. Thanks to all the speakers, of course. I'll now hand over to Patricia Nobbe, the Executive Director of our UAS 7 office in New York City, and the moderator of today's event, to introduce them all in turn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, though absent, Andrea Sabi, for providing these introductory remarks. They enable me to rather swiftly hand over to our speakers. So as Herr Sabi said, I'm Patricia Nobbe, heading the New York office for 7 German universities of applied sciences, proudly working together with our Berlin and Brazilian offices and today's moderator. Despite countries and institutions carefully opening up again already, we have not really left the pandemic behind, and most areas of daily life are still being affected. The pandemic created deep wounds, and the lockdown measures burdens in our personal and professional lives. And I so hope life will become safe again for all of us as soon as possible, and that the healing can start. In that spirit, I thank you all for joining us here today, whether on stage, in person, or via the live stream. And I want to welcome our remote and in-person speakers, providing 3 or actual 4 continental visions on how applied sciences power innovation post-COVID, post-lockdown measures, hopefully, and carried by university-industry relations. The goal of today's event is now really to gather some theses on the new parameters guiding applied sciences these days and in the foreseeable future. We curated our speakers for their broad representation of vantage points and are thrilled that they are here to share their visions with us. Maybe you will agree with what they say, maybe you'll disagree with some of their assessments, but we are all here because of a shared passion for innovation and applied sciences, and to listen. So whether you're a student at one of the numerous participating universities, otherwise involved in moving the cities, or an interested partner, expert, colleague, and friend, we hope you'll be able to connect with what's being said and use it as a vantage point for future reflection. The procedure of this event is simple. We hear 6 rather brief speaker inputs. Each speaker has 6 to 7 minutes and will then ask some follow-up questions, which you may submit through the YouTube link on your screen. Make sure to also state your affiliation. But since time is limited, here's one more important thing. I strongly encourage you to also stay in touch and send questions and thoughts. Stay in touch with us through me, send questions and thoughts to me as they occur to you over the course of the next week, maybe. And I'll continue to share them with our speakers, and we will see where we can take it from there. But now on to the speakers. I'll introduce 2 speakers at a time, starting with US speakers, Nicole Gurul-Sternberger from SAP SuccessFactors and Sean Gallagher from our friends at Northeastern University. So Sean is equally at home in the world of higher education and in the world of business, and looks back on a career in both. He has run and directed companies, including his own, has served in strategic positions at Northeastern University in Boston for many years now, and we are very excited to welcome him here. And so Nicole also looks back on an extensive career in an exciting field. She was for a long time, she's now the global head of SAP SuccessFactors in North America, a German software company with branches all over the world. And as many of you here know, and she is in senior strategy and development positions and has been so for a long time. We are thrilled to have them both here, and I want to invite Sean to start. He is currently the executive director of the Center for Future of Higher Education and Talent Strategy at Northeastern. I want to invite him to start sharing his thoughts, and then Nicole can join right after.
Thank you. It's great to be here and looking forward to the discussion. So my remarks will be grounded in research that we do externally as much as they are representing Northeastern as a university. Our focus is really on trends in the job market, trends in education and learning, and how they intersect. And some of these things are obvious. We've all experienced them, whether we're students or people in business or people in universities, but we're just in a dramatic moment of job market transformation and disruption. Rapid digitization and automation. There's many ways that can be measured. Orders of robots, the stocks of technology companies. There's all these measures that show us just the boom that has happened since the pandemic. And of course, the shift to online and remote work, which we'll talk a little bit about, has some implications for learning. There's the question of what does this mean for skills that are needed? I've found that there are real perennial skills like communication, problem solving, leadership. They're just as needed today. And in fact, we're finding this in our research and our discussions with companies or looking at data sets. And they're similar to years past. That's somewhat unchanging. So these human skills, in addition to digital skills, which obviously have grown in importance, and our president at Northeastern, Joseph Aoun, talks about that as being robot proof and being able to work alongside and with smart machines. Hybrid work, it's still playing out. I think Patricia just mentioned that. We're in a new environment. It's really unclear how much time people will spend in offices or on campuses or working digitally. And I think there are very big, not yet answered implications for what happens in our physical world in terms of economic development and buildings and cities, and also the growing digital world. The other thing, just at a broad economic and job market perspective, is the war for talent has returned. It looked like we were going to enter a very deep recession or depression at a point when the lockdown began, but around the world and certainly in the US, unprecedented record levels of job openings. So how employers hire is changing, and the talent that they're looking for and the crunch for skilled labor is very, very serious. A lot of our research work focuses on how employers look at educational credentials and skills when they bring talent in and as they try to upskill their workforce. Skills-based hiring is a major trend. You may have seen some of the headlines about companies like IBM and Google and many others de-emphasizing degrees in their hiring process. That doesn't, of course, mean that degrees no longer matter, but what is happening is more analytics and more pre-hire assessment are being used, and we're at this point of change in terms of it's very important for those in higher education to watch how does that play out, how does that develop, especially as companies want to diversify their talent pipeline, focus on equity and diversity and inclusion in terms of that social movement and imperative, and so on. And so we're actively doing surveys on these trends, and it's very clear what's happening in this regard. Another obvious thing is the boom in online education, but I'll suggest some particular details there from our research work. We recently did a C-suite survey, so CFOs, CEOs at US companies, sample of 1,000 across the country. And we found that specifically due to the experience of the pandemic, their interest in hiring people who earned degrees or studied online has grown. Their interest, their perception of the quality. This has now gone much more mainstream. And it's similar with digital learning and training, right? So as organizations worked remotely over the last year plus, there's a much clearer experience that's been created with various forms of digital learning. Even though, of course, many of those experiences, if you were a student, they were often put together very quickly and they were often very poor, which I'll come back around to. I think that means we need much more learning science and much more intentional instructional design. So putting a lot of this together, we're in this new, just like the world of work in education, this hybrid world, something that's omni-channel, like a retailer, like a Walmart or a Target. I've written about and researched this in the past. I think in the future, all of these experiences in learning and working will be blended between the digital and also physical place. And that's very disruptive in terms of the basic economic models of how you staff things and how you deliver things and how much technology you need. So there's some challenges, but there's a lot of opportunities there. One other thing is micro-credentials, short-form learning online, certificates, for example, certifications. There's been very significant growth there. The world of learning, whether it's people who are already in the workforce or pursuing higher education, is really focused on shorter and faster and more digital. By various measures, there was 70% growth in that in 2020, compared to higher education enrollment usually grows maybe 2 or 3 or 4%, maybe 10%. In certain periods. And there are more non-institutional providers, more substitutes to college degrees and college courses from companies like Google, just to name one, coming into the market. And even traditional degrees are being digitized through digital badges and other experiences where maybe you study at a university campus and you're in a traditional program, but you also earn some type of digital credential that you can present to an employer through social media. And in the future, and in some cases today, that will go directly into the employer hiring systems. And of course, employer hiring has shifted online. The last thing I'll mention, in an area that we specialize in at Northeastern, is work integrated or experiential learning. We see a lot of demand from employers, from students, from policymakers. Often the talk is about apprenticeships, which can be a powerful model. But I would argue that it's really a continuum when you think about internships and practica, capstones. There's many different forms of experiential learning. And it's not necessarily difficult to weave that into the experience like universities of applied sciences have done, like business schools often do. I think that is spreading out to other disciplines and other types of institutions. And a lot of that has gone online. When you think about online internships and the availability of online projects that's happened over the last year, it's not quite the same as being in person at a workplace and getting hands-on mentoring and access to corporate leaders. And so that's something that's new that this landscape is figuring out. So in closing, and excited for the discussion, would emphasize figuring out hybrid work and hybrid learning and finding the best of both worlds is very important. Better instructional design and learning science and support for faculty. I've been stunned about how little already exists in terms of the research base. So there's an opportunity to close that gaps, and also a broader embrace of experiential learning. And in all of this, we're just in a period of rebooting. We need new structures. We need innovation. Innovation in education was a very popular term, and now it is really happening by necessity. Thanks.
Patricia, should I just dive in?
Yes.
Okay. Sean, I really loved your comments, and I think what I'm about to talk about probably just kind of doubles down on a lot of things you said. So first of all, welcome everyone. Again, my name is Nicole Sternberger, and I lead the global go-to-market for Success Factors. I think, Patricia, you maybe gave me a promotion when you said I lead Success Factors, but I lead the global go-to-market team. And for those of you that don't know, SuccessFactors is a global leader in the cloud HCM space. We serve over 13,000 customers globally. And before I get in my comments, I just want to say one thing really quick. You know, I know a lot of folks on their phone are well aware through our partnerships of our commitment to bring young talent in. And that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to get on this call. We have over 3,000 interns at any given time, and we have so many early talent programs. And personally, I've been really thrilled because I've had the opportunity to work with young talent, have them have, you know, these early talent experiences or internships, and then watch them join SAP and survive and thrive. And it's probably the most rewarding thing that I get to do day in and day out. So first of all, I just wanted to put that on the table. And maybe as I get into my comments, it's helpful to kind of talk about the vantage point that we're coming from. And one of the true beliefs at SAP SuccessFactors, and you've heard it in sort of Sean's comments as a theme as well, is that the critical role that the employee experience plays in making sure you have an innovative, agile, high-performing company. And so to put it really simply, right, the experience an employee has at work directly affects their ability to cope with stress, right, to deliver high levels of creativity and agility. And when you think about the world we're in today, there's a ton of stress, a ton of change, right? That's really, really important. On the flip side, right, just to make it really simple, a bad employee experience, right, leads to bad customer experiences, decreased creativity, agility, you know, what have you. So, you know, I think Sean talked about this, right? The term, the great resignation, right? Employees are leaving their jobs at alarming rates. But I think what we found out and what millions of other companies are finding is what they're doing is they're leaving a bad employee experience, right? These are folks your age, right, that are looking for consumer grade experiences at work. And so unsurprisingly, the companies that can do that, right, and not only that, but also kind of bring the psychological safety to their employees that, you know, they can bring their true selves to work, it is really, really important. So this has always been true. But I think with the pandemic and the post-pandemic world, right, it becomes an undeniable fact, right? And we're seeing this play out over and over again across millions of companies. And so our company at SuccessFactors and our partners and our competition, there's massive, massive innovation in this space. So it's with this vantage point that I'm just going to make a couple of comments and trends. And again, it plays off some of the really important points that Sean had. And I think it's important, you know, for you guys to take in as a lot of the university students enter this next phase of their career. And the first is, you know, and again, you know, you're probably going to hear it many times here, is that the skills themselves are largely perishable. And you're probably obviously learning that in your curriculum now. The skills have a half-life of about 5 years. The more technical the skill, the smaller the half-life. So with that in mind, what's important, right? What's important is how we can support employees to be agile, to be resilient, to adapt, right? So major innovations on this end. And, you know, again, you know, I keep referring to Sean's comments about kind of being able to take your CV with you anywhere you go, right? And also have these experiences or micro experiences within your work. So how can we empower employees to sort of take ownership of this, right? That's a huge trend that we're starting to see. And how can we systematically those opportunities through, you know, these micro experiences along the way. The second one is health and well-being, right? And I sort of alluded to it before, but I'm going to dig into it a little bit more. So we're seeing drastic innovations on how to keep employees healthy. And when I say healthy, I don't mean physically, I mean physically, but in addition to that, that sort of psychological safety, right? And you're going to hear me say that a couple of times. because employee burnout is real. And if your employees are not well, your organization is not well, your results are not well. And everyone has their stories, right? For me and my team, I had people that had COVID, long-term COVID, cancer, death, I mean, you name it. But this is just not a special story about my team. Millions of other teams have gone through the same thing. And I think what we found, right, is that we not only help these folks get better, right, give them the tools to do that, but also, again, the psychological safety that they have the time, that it is a priority. And so the reason I make a point of this is there is, again, massive, innovations in the HR technology space about how we can do that. How do we connect them with the resources? How do we connect them with buddies? How do we sort of take their temperature on how they're doing on a daily basis? And, a lot of that gets into privacy issues, and certainly a conversation going on now, but there's a huge, huge opportunity there. And I know for my team, when we made that a priority, our productivity went way up when people weren't worried about, covering for themselves, and that we had their back, and, we were trying to give them the tools to do that. Our organization became a lot more healthy and a lot more productive. So I hope these comments are helpful as a part of this ongoing conversation. And again, I'm so honored to be a part of it. I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, both of you. So these messages from either perspective do align wonderfully. Thank you for that. Our 7 German universities of applied sciences, we share a lot of the strategies and challenges you both also mentioned, and try to address those. But we can talk about that after. I'm excited to hear the Brazilian perspectives now, with speakers from 2 more locally or regionally centered organizations and academic affiliations as well. So we have with us via Zoom, Susana Kakuta, Director of Innovation at Unicinos, and on the stage, Luis Carlos Pinto da Silva Filho, Coordinator of Pacto Alegre, Innovation Pact of Porto Alegre, and Professor at the University Federal do Rio Grande do Sul. So just to say a few framing words about them, Susana has extensive strategic experiences in the world between business and universities as well, having run the strategy side of a business consultancy in the past. And she now is the Director of Innovation at Unicinos, and she runs Techno that supports innovative entrepreneurship. So a most excellent speaker. And also on the stage, Luis Carlos is the coordinator of Pacto Alegre, the development corporation for the ecosystem of Porto Alegre, as well as professor at the university, as I already mentioned. What are your thoughts on the new parameters concerning university and industry relationships from your perspectives and vantage points? Maybe we start with Susana, who will be zooming in. Are you ready, Susana?
Okay. Hello to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon, Brazilian time, of course. And we have been integrating this initiative for many years. And I think this is a very interesting moment, the post-pandemic moment. At my job, I'm head of innovation in the university, but also I'm the CEO of our tech park, which aims to link very strongly the industry and or the companies, tech companies, and our academia work. At the tech park, we have 121 tech companies, and what we realized during this pandemic is that they grow a lot. They grow at 2 digits, and we can say any times more than the Brazilian economy. And what is amazing that in this time of growing, we also realized that, for example, in the health sector, was possible to see very new startups in this area coming up. It's really a new phenomenon in Brazil, because to be a startup in Brazil at before this time was, we can say, not so attractive. And what happened is that this pandemic, well, helped a lot to not only to make it happen, but the growth of these companies. And when we think that in one hand you have the growth of these companies in the tech sector in our country, but in the other hand, the pandemic brings to us in economic aspects, for example, a huge amount of people unemployed actually in Brazil, or we can say in genetic aspects that the Brazilian society, they lost the power of buying as a result of the pandemic. And it brings really a lack of education or lack of opportunity for a new way to prepare skills for people. For example, in our tech park, we have already around 2,000 places, open places, looking for people. So how you can combine this economy? In one side, you have employment, and you have a lot of people who need to reconvert professional skills. And on the other hand, you have a big space in which you can have a good job, and where you are looking for skilled people. And it means that to prepare people for this new time is a really big challenge, because as our colleagues commented before, it's a hybrid time, not only in the way to learn, but also in a way to work. And so how to can foster, how you can make it happen in a very speedy time, not only concerning undergraduate or graduate courses in the university, but also in technical skills, very specific technical skills for these people. And it brings, of course, a high level of opportunity for our university in this content. And I'm sure that Luis Carlos will talk about this great initiative, Pacto Alegre, in which we try to foster a huge amount of people to think about innovation, to think about these new professions linked to the technological area. And so what we try actually is to combine this moment in which you need to do something new, and also go a step further in order to link all this movement in the international arena. And so for us, for example, to receive people from another universities, to send people from our university to another ones, and give this international content as a background for them is a very great opportunity in this moment. And so my general comments are in this way, like Brazil actually is a great area, or is living a new experience concerning to prepare people, and we are living a lack of good and talent people. And so I think also there is a joint opportunity for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susanna. And Luis Carlos?
Hello, Patricia. Great to have you as the moderator, and great to be here with Susanna and with Carsten at Unicinos here, because it's very special seeing this opening of the third Moving the Cities with increasing partners, with improvements in the way that we are building the process with new students and very talented teams here, working with challenges that may transform our cities. It's really, really very important. I remember when Carsten came and he first talked to me about a very important vision that was the X regions. And I confess that I fell in love with him and his vision at that moment, because it had a very strong sense of purpose. And that may be something that somehow brought us to create Pacto Alegre, this new movement that is really changing the city here. And it's allowing us to build a very powerful agenda of how to do things together. And that's the very sense and the same synergy that the Moving the Cities, that when I met Tatiana, I understood that the Cathedral of Dreams that we kind of built together with X regions had a very good foundation that was Moving the Cities. Moving the Cities was the opportunity to really foster what's most important for this change that we want to make at Porto Alegre, in Rio Grande do Sul, and in the world, in a sense. We are betting very strongly on innovation and entrepreneurship as values to transform the knowledge that we are generating in the city into real impact to the people. I was built as an academic, but these last few years, I just felt the urge to kind of make more use of the knowledge that we were creating inside the universities. And that brought me to be one of the architects of the Alliance for Innovation. That was a very different way that brought together URGS, PUC, and Unicinos, and kind of showed us the delightful way that we can collaborate and do more when we are doing it collectively. So when we were invited to join the Moving the Cities, when we started planning with Tatiana, that was really very exciting, because we knew that that is the way that we can really create this network of talent and give to this talent the opportunity to kind of have this amazing experience that is the Moving the Cities, where they have to be agile, to have a very long-term view about how they will impact challenges that will really move the cities, but at the same time be pragmatic about having a solution that can be applied now. And remember that from the 1st of November, I will be a different stakeholder in this process, because apart from being the coordinator of Pacto Alegre and the director of innovation at URGS, I will also be the innovation secretary of Porto Alegre. So if there are very good ideas in here that will come from here, I would love to apply them in Porto Alegre and in other cities. So beware, because your ideas might turn into reality, and I would love to have that. So in the end, what we are doing, we are creating this network of talent, we are giving experiences, we are making sure that knowledge turns into value for people. that is maybe the most important challenge for academics in this 21st century. The problems that we are facing in the cities, and I think some of the speakers at the opening really highlighted that, are very complex, but they are critical for the quality of life of people. So we need to put all the effort from academia, governments, from private enterprises, and from civil society to really create alliances to make sure that we can implement quick change in energy, in residues, in changing people. And we have been very successful in that. And I will just comment here on one of the projects of the Pacto Alegre, for example, that reunited a lot of IT companies from the city, and they created one platform that is really being able to foster digital talent on our city. That's one of the critical, like Susanna said, we have a lot of posts in here and companies that need more people that have digital data skills. And that was supplied by the private sector with no cost for everyone. And it's today available for students, for unemployed, with mentorships, with courses. And that's the power when you kind of reunited the forces and you align them in the same direction. That's what we are kind of learning into Pacto Alegre. And I think that's the spirit that I would like to give to the teams. Think about what is already there. Think how you rethink processes and how you go again, and thinking an innovative way to deal with the problems that we have, using the forces of the city, and be sure that with that in mind and with purpose as your guideline, you will be able not just to have fun over moving the cities, but maybe creating projects that really impact the life of persons in all the cities that we have on our network. Thanks.
Thank you so much, both of you, for providing us with a better sense of the challenges and endeavors and ambitions of your regions. This message also carries a lot of the important points that already also were made. So let's just get the input from, we have finally two Germany-related speakers, Thomas Krometzka and Carsten Schröder. Thomas Krometzka is CSO of Abertura, co-founder. He is the co-founder of various energy and data and software-related startups, and currently the CSO of Abertura, a globally active company pushing the limits of clean energy provision. He is adding another geographic layer by zooming in from Thailand. And we also have on the stage Carsten Schröder, Vice President for Cooperation, Innovation and Marketing at FH Münster University of Applied Sciences. Many of you have seen him before. He is also directing TAFH, FH Münster's mediator between science, innovation, entrepreneurship, and project development, and responsible for transforming science into practice. He is also, many of you have seen him before, so I will hand this over to Carsten and Thomas. There will be a PowerPoint presentation, and I believe Carsten will start.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Patricia. My voice has gone before the last presentation. Maybe someone could share the presentation, because as the Vice President for Marketing, I thought to make it very applied with some slides. Perfect, there it is. Thomas, greetings to Thailand. It's such an amazing thing that we are doing a speech together with 16,000 kilometers between us. So normally there's
absolutely.
It's hard, huh? It's perfect. So I try to manage it from here. And it don't work. Could someone make the next slide, please? Perfect. So I try to make it in 6 theses, and what you could not see here that we have now a German, Brazilian translated English to Brazilian Portuguese version. So thank you, Gabi, for helping me. I try to make it into 6 very short theses, and maybe someone could make the next slide. First thesis: I think we have talked about that, and everyone knows it. The world is in change, and even Germany is in change. And I just said it before to the students. In my really deep mind, COVID-19 is really accelerator, and virtualizing exposes strategic gaps, very concrete in it. We all have this kind of activities, plans, big future plans before, but the pandemic now has really forced it area. So digitalization is a good example for that. The restructuring of cities is a good example for that. So what has been done before, now after the pandemic, has more to be worked on. Next slide, please. I still believe, and we show that nearly every day, that for innovation in Germany, you are, as University of Applied Science, were and are a very important driver of the changing ecosystems. We are in the middle between the fundamental research universities and the SMEs, so we have really to translate ideas to the market. We are one of the partners who have really developed open innovation in Germany, and we are currently very strong working on ecosystem, and we'll be very happy if we could interlock the ecosystem. We will be powerful in the next days and really work on that. Okay, next slide, please. But I still believe that everything that we have done before as universities will be the same that we have to do now after the pandemic. So we have to produce academic professionals for the companies, for corporates, for SME, for societal agencies. We have to work on new business development. I will explain a bit later on what I mean with that. We have to force up startups for our regions. We have a lifelong learning process still, so we have to work on further education. Research innovation is still the basic on everything. As universities, we have to give the infrastructure for everything, and of course, it's our core role to work on networks. Next slide, please. But what is really new now is that a kind of quality claim that we all have, and a systematic interlinked strategy and instrument where we have, as University of Applied, worked for more than 40 years, now have to meet. Next slide. One back, please. Agility and openness, because everything what we have learned was not possible during the pandemic. So we have to invent nearly everything new what we did between science and society, science and business. We stepped directly into digitalization. We have even create projects on a digital base. And one good example for this is, next slide, please, is our cooperation with Abertura. It has totally, I think we met, Thomas, we met once before the pandemic, and then everything has to be organized during the pandemic. And what makes it so running well is that I still believe that trust has been the core success factor in nearly every innovation process between business and society before the pandemic. This has been the success factor of every cooperation during the pandemic, and it will be the success factor after the pandemic for every good cooperation project. And now we come directly to Thailand. Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. I can only echo that. I think absolutely, indeed, trust is a very crucial factor, and it is certainly driving the relationship between us and the Fachhochschule Münster. So very much d'accord. Next slide, please. So yeah, this is a picture of the one time where we actually met. I think Carsten and myself are a bit in the back, and on the right hand side you can see that we recently broke ground and started building a factory for electrolyzers, basically right next to the premises where the Fachhochschule Münster is located. Next slide, please. So just quickly, so you know who is speaking here, we're an electrolyzer manufacturer that is a company that is producing hydrogen generators. These generators are here to provide green hydrogen for the energy transition and climate change. And we're basically the new kid on the block. We only started that business in 2017 in a world where many others are already producing these electrolyzers. but we're changing a paradigm. We actually want to create a product business rather than a project business. And in order to do that, we needed a lot of help from the applied sciences, and found that partner in the FH Münster. Next slide, please. So for us, as a very small but agile team that really has climate change at the heart of everything that we do, we put our impact first, even before our profits. We knew we had to accelerate our R&D, coming new into a field with a great technology, but basically being very focused on a certain aspect. We needed to accelerate research and development. And what was very important to us is that for that, we needed a bidirectional knowledge flow and knowledge transfer, because the stuff that we had, nobody knew. And we were very singularly focused on our technology. We knew a lot of things not that were common knowledge. So hence we turned towards the FH for recruiting a lot of young professionals. We think that in the industry where we're at, with the technology that we have, nobody has ever done that before. So we don't need people who have been working in that field for 30 years, because they simply don't exist. So we opted to really work with young professionals, and we find them at the FH Münster. What the University of Applied Sciences is very good for is to allow us to also approach them for selective competence fields, particularly projects, right? Maybe there is a field where we don't even want to build up competences, but we need help very quickly. You wouldn't find it at a normal university, but in the University of Applied Science, you do find it. And that is certainly one approach why that is so important for us. And then last but not least, the expansions of networks is a crucial factor for us, because we need to touch base like-minded organizations and individuals that want to help our cause. So from the more general part, maybe to a bit more specific on the next slide, please, you can see that we have been, next slide, please. Exactly. So we have been cooperating with the FH Münster for various disciplines. That was also a very appealing factor for us, that there is not just particular or selective knowledge, but a broad support that we can get. For us, chemical engineering, digitalization, mechanical engineering, process engineering, and sustainable nutrition are important factors where we could directly tap into a wealth of knowledge. And again, not just theoretical knowledge, but very applied. So we were in a position to immediately create working groups and projects in which we can together work on the resources that we need. And very concretely, that looks into the next slide. Fields such as we're jointly building an electrolyzer factory, or we're developing the machines that will be basically produced, or that will be producing the hydrogen generators, the electrolyzers that we need. Something that we couldn't have done alone, and where we needed the expertise to upscale our production and machine park. The advantage of our cooperation is that we had a very high degree of interaction in the development of processes and machines, and we just had this very wide knowledge. But it's not just for a factory. It is also a field where innovation is really pushed beyond the limits in a second project that we call a life cycle impact zero approach. That is ultimately an approach where we want to describe a way how companies like ours, industrial players, can produce a product without any negative impact to the environment. And here we're obviously seeking the input and the support from players that can help in many regards. One of them is actually sustainable nutrition. Nutrition is a huge cause of emissions and negative or adverse effects that you don't want to have. And we're starting a project which will look into that on how to have sustainable nutrition on our campus for hundreds of employees. So if we have a wish for post-COVID, and maybe on the next slide, we're seeking we need the more face-to-face meetings in the post-corona times. I think everybody here would probably agree, but connecting what Carsten said for building trust, it is essential to also meet the other side of the computer in real life. We are hoping for even stronger interlinkages between science research and the application. It is absolutely crucial. Too much is happening in books that is separated from the actual application layer, and bridging this gap is something that we think is a huge need. We are wishing for more interactions with students and graduates. We have organized a lot online meeting places and in very innovative formats, but the meeting is really important. And yeah, so we hope for a lot of more constructive and fascinating research projects that lead to strong and reliable partnerships post-COVID. Maybe so far from my end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carsten and Thomas and everybody before. I hear that my Wi-Fi seems a little spotty. I hope it's better now. It's powerful to see this changing hybrid world in action here and on this panel and with Moving the Cities at large. So listening to all the different perspectives and speakers here across continents and branches, there seems to be still a lot of alignment, and it also seems the time for applied sciences to really take off has really come. Digitization, hybrid work, skills-based hiring, experimental learning has been all mentioned more than once. The powerful role of UAS or universities, to name a few. There are a lot of questions we could ask now. I want to give credit to the students in the audience and therefore just ask a student-focused question first. So to all the speakers, really, you may have a thought or a quick feedback on that. So there have been a lot of changes with the pandemic in all aspects of society lately, including a strong entrepreneurship focus and more focus on innovation. Everybody seems to have programs for that now. How are except for our Moving the City students, obviously, but how are students onboarding to this idea, and are we taking them all with us into the applied world? What are your strategies that seem to work to take the students with you? And also, do you have any advice for students how to prepare for that? For graduates, of course, too, but for the students right now. Anyone, Nicole?
Let me comment on that.
Okay, I don't see you, Luis Carlos. There, okay.
I'm a ghost voice. No, I think the students are facing. Well, we are trying to think about models to go into the digital world in education, but we are kind of filling the water before the pandemic. And then the pandemic came and just kind of dropped us into the pool. And we had to adapt and learn very quickly. And not everything was nice, but some things, because of this forceful entrance that we had into the digital world, kind of showed us that there are possibilities that probably will be more close to the hybrid world than the digital totally world, you know. There are a lot of things that can be done digitally, and we can enhance and do things like the Moving the City with students from all over the world. But there are some moments that you need the presence. what we have been learning from our students in here is that they are willing to try out new things, and this enable them to think on another way. But we need to be a little bit careful, because when we go into flipped classrooms or very putting the student in the center of the process, sometimes we can do it a little too much. You need to give time for this process to mature, for the students to grow. And if you pile up a lot of things, we have seen that we can create a stressful environment instead of engaging one. So I think we need to learn how to dose a little bit, how to find the balance between things.
And now I completely agree. And this is Nicole Sternberger. Maybe I'll jump in here because, the point was made. We're going into this hybrid world, right? And so part of, if you're going to join a company, you might not have the chance to physically meet some of these people for quite a while, right? Hopefully that's the case. So to think about how, what is your brand, right? What are the things that you love to do? Not necessarily the job you're looking to get, but what are the things that give you tons of energy, right? Because that's going to be where you really thrive. And how do you communicate that to others, right? And one of the things that, we've had students join our team, and this woman presented, like, here are the things that motivate me. Like, here's what I'm great at. Here's how here's what really gets me excited. And I would say that having to work with someone I've never met and having that appreciation for her, it really helped us go right into like a great relationship right from the beginning. So I think those types of things, I know it's kind of very pragmatic advice, but it's something I would offer to the students on the phone.
Any other comments?
Maybe you have to find this new sense of belonging. How you engage people then when they are not in the same room, when they do not have the coffee talks and everything else. How do you? I think we found ourselves less formal on the digital. We use less suits. You drop the ties. Because you need to be more close to the people. Not exactly physically, but in a sense of belonging. I think that's something that we'll have to study a little bit how it's working.
Yeah.
The organizers gave me here another question, Patricia, that speaks about the effect of work from home models and how they are affecting employee distribution. Like people are moving 4 hours away from their office where it's located, and if that will kind of impact suburban sprawl, especially in the States. I don't know if any of you want to comment.
I'll jump in here again. I think, my team is remote. I think people are, I personally took a chance to go somewhere remote. It sounds like someone's in Thailand, Thomas. I don't know if you're in Thailand for good, but I think one of the things that is important in this remote world is, there is something psychological if you're in an office when you shut your computer and you leave. And I talked about burnout, right? When you're in this hybrid environment or virtual environment, your computer never closes down, right? And I think that there is really something in that, and it's just so easy to kind of go back on the computer. And so, one of the things that we've said to our team is, and I mentioned this in my comments, take your mental health seriously. And if you're constantly, if you're creating the expectation, or your boss is creating the expectation that you need to always be online, they're not going to get the optimal results. So I think that's one of the trends I'm seeing is people, it just feel like they always need to be on almost to prove that they're working. I think one of our panelists is from Brazil. I know our office in Brazil, if you're not in the office, people before the pandemic, they were wondering, is that person even working? Right? So there is this pressure to almost prove you're there and you're always available. And I think that's something we got to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, the question was also concerning, in addition to what Nicole said, with suburban sprawl. Like, I think the concern behind this is that working from home, the new hybrid world will contribute to suburban sprawl. Are there any? Do we know anything about that yet? I think that might be a little early, but we can only speculate.
In Brazil, what's happening is that people are moving into smaller cities, not exactly sprawling the big ones, but deciding to go to the cities that are near here, like 100 kilometers, but are close to the beach. So people are establishing sometimes 2 homes. So it's a little bit different. We are seeing a renewal of cities that were losing population some time ago.
And I'm on. Maybe I could comment on the German side because, as maybe everyone knows, Germany is not only Berlin. It's very rural, whatever we call rural, and it's driven by SME. And many what we call hidden champions are in the countryside in Germany, and it's a great perspective for them after the pandemic that some labor rules have changed now. So you must not be in the middle of Berlin to get employees. You could find new solutions. So people could stay in small villages, drive 1, 2, 3 days to the office in the main town, stay the other days there. So we have a totally new chance to reorganize labor structures. So I think it would be very positive for our companies that they get now high qualified people that would normally only live in Berlin or Munich, coming to our region.
Yeah, thank you. If nobody else wants to contribute to that question, any other? Okay. We have a question from the audience, and I want to bring this up because this is a brilliant opportunity, because we have really different, at least geographic perspectives or country perspectives on this. If you could all briefly just state they are interested in the international perspective on applied sciences and the German idea of applied sciences, whether we are all talking about the same thing here. So if we do engage in applied sciences, if one speaker from each country could briefly just say what's understood with their background, what applied sciences is, we can compare and contrast.
Sean, I'm going to throw this over to you since you're the academic from North America.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, and I had the pleasure of visiting Germany a couple times, and but not an expert in the comparative international structures. I think what's happened in the U.S., we see it even in, I think it's California recently, in addition to many other states, the community colleges, which are supposed to be the first 2 years of education and are often more vocational, they're now awarding bachelor's degrees. Institutions that used to be very focused, they've expanded, and there's a lot of isomorphism. There's a lot of, each institution is trying to look like others and like Harvard, and very diversified, and there's not as much specialization. So I think there can be some benefit in having educational structures and in types of institutions that are segmented and have a focus and have a strategy. I guess my worldview has always been biased toward applied sciences, technology, business, rather than more the liberal arts. But there's a need for both. And I guess what I could say is we hear that and we see it in our surveys, and we hear it in our interviews with employers in terms of what types of graduates do they want to hire, and where is the demand for talent, what occupations are growing, where are the salary increases, and so on. It's really a combination versus saying, okay, everything's going to be engineering and business and tech and analytics, and then over here we're going to have studying literature and design and other things. There's sort of demand for everything right now, and I think it's something that higher education systems need to figure out. And on one of the themes that's been implicit in the discussion, I think for decades there was more of a steady state understanding of kind of how the job market worked and where different professions and opportunities and fields were going. The pace of change was less, and there's been a lot of restructuring. So it's kind of hard to predict. I think we have to be very very watchful of what the trends are, and the need for digital skills and engineering skills and business skills in occupations and industries and at levels that maybe didn't exist before, and also where things are going away. We haven't talked a lot about that, but the threat of automation and what's happening in manufacturing and even in healthcare and in retail. There are whole areas of jobs that used to be great middle-class jobs that might be disappearing. So it's difficult. It's hard to sort out, but we are in this moment of change.
Maybe I could comment as a vice president of a University of Applied Science, and I would love to ask everyone to stop that general discussion between basic research and applied research and everything else. I think and I had the great chance to have a deep look into the Chilean system, the Brazilian system, a bit into the system in the United States, and of course to many countries in Europe. And every well-running ecosystem has a good cooperation from basic research above applied research to company startups, the ecosystem. And I think the pandemic has really shown how how important that is to have it. Otherwise, we will not have such vaccination in such a short time, if not some research have done basic research for 10, 20 years on the fundamental questions. And we would not have been vaccinated everyone if then applied research and startups and spin-offs and whatever has worked to bring it into the market. So I think, universities or traditional universities should go on thinking about applied research, and applied research universities has also to think about fundamental research, and we should stop that general discussion, Patricia.
Thank you. I have a question specifically for Nicole that somebody has posed here in the chat. She wants to see, or Bernardo wants to see, how does Nicole see the technology in the process of follow-up of the employees of mental health? But Bernardo, if you are here, maybe you can ask it yourself. Are you still available?
I answered it in the chat, but I'm happy to speak to it very quickly.
I did not see that yet.
Oh, no worries. We have partnerships with many startups in the HR tech space, and we're seeing a huge amount of innovation here. I think one of the interesting things to just follow is there's a lot of privacy concerns that come with employees going in and getting that support from their company, right? And so, at what point does a company need to take an action? What are the signs, right? So it starts to get a little interesting. And do people feel comfortable by getting that type of content, right? That type of support through their employer? It's going to differ very on the region, I'm sure, but there is a ton of innovation in that space. So I put in chat.
Thank you. So there is not that much time left right now. I wanted to ask one more question to the company representatives here, which is, do you have problems attracting talent, and what are your strategies what do you do right now to engage potential new employees and new hires? How do you find them? What's the most important here?
On our end, we have no problem hiring people, but we have problems hiring really good people. So that is the challenge. And for us, I think the problem is that particularly, so we're looking for a partner in US because the people who come from these universities are, they're very close to the real life and the products that we're building. And this is very important. So for us, we're very open for early cooperation. We start with internships. We take people early on. We offer we offer master thesis, bachelor theses, master theses to get people into the company very early on and allow them to grow with us. We do hire, more experts who are coming in where needed, but in general, we prefer to build relations. And I think Carsten mentioned it earlier. It is really a matter of trust. I know a few people now, and if they recommend a candidate, this comes usually, it saves me a lot of work because I trust the person. I know they have a good assessment. They know what we need, and there are multipliers for us. So it really helps. And that's why this close partnership is very helpful for us.
Patricia,
Nicole?
yeah.
Do you?
No, Thomas, we have the same thing, right? We found some great people that we trust, and a lot of times that's where, we get great talent. But I will say we have many early talent programs at SAP. It differs, country by country. I think the thing that was really interesting was some of our early talent, and for me, quite surprising. And I don't know, maybe this is just a North American, issue with some of the students we had. But one of the ways that people can learn and adapt and make a difference very quickly is not to be afraid to make a mistake. And I think sometimes when we have students that come in and are looking for the right answer, that really halts or impedes our ability to innovate with that person. Like, we're bringing them in because they have fresh ideas. Thomas, I think that was your comment as well, right? To be open to a new way of thinking and to raise the bar on what a consumer grade experience is for the right outcomes. And so, I think the two things. One, I talked about branding yourself, not about what you want to do, but what are the things that you're good at, innately good at, and enjoy. Because I think if you can communicate that, you have champions that can talk to a Thomas or a Nicole and say, I've got the right person for you, right? And the second thing is when you get these opportunities, an internship, you volunteer for something, whatever, you're putting your name out there. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, right? Now, do so smart, in an informed way, but you're going to have so much more of an impact than you would if you kind of sat back. You're afraid, you're not going to get the right answer. You're not, at least taking, using a design thinking mentality as you go forward. So I don't know, Thomas, if you'd agree with any of that. I see you nodding your head. So
I fully agree. Yeah. I fully agree. So we actually have that paradigm in our company. It's like it's worse to do nothing than make a mistake, right? So fully agree.
May I comment on the university side to that what Thomas and Nicole said? I think there are two new things that we have to work on. I know that, for example, it's done in nearly every university that is in this channel now. We have to talk about intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship. So we have to tell them and to help them to let them entrepreneurial thinking and acting. And that is the reason why we are doing, for example, moving the city together. And the second thing, what is, I think is not only the case in Germany, is we are getting a totally new generation at our university. We call that the Friday for Future generation, Greta Thunberg and everything what you have. They have passion, they want to change the world, they want to act. And we have now the great chance to have them in a bachelor or master program for 3, 4, 5 years in the university and bring them then directly to business or to other employees. So let's cooperate in that field. Let's work with this generation. I think that will change the world.
Thank you. We have run out of time already. So what was important here, I think, is these are all very complex topics, and it is a complex world. It doesn't seem to be getting more straightforward, but I do think there are good strategies on the way, and you all our speakers are actors from are working towards making these things easier accessible, helping along this new world basically, and taking the students and the next generation with us, and helping towards the future of applied sciences in a positive way. And it was important for me to connect, that we all connected, even though we run out of time now. What I want you to do, I know there is at least one question I did not get to, Sebastian, I'm so sorry. I want us all to kind of stay in touch, or feel free to send your questions as they occur to you still to me. I have in the back here, if you see that, my email address. Somebody might put it into the chat as well. I'll distribute it to the speakers, and we can stay in conversation that way. And with that, I want to thank everyone again on the stage, via Zoom, on the live stream, for looking in. Thanks to our incredible hosts here in Porto Alegre, and the inspiring Moving the Cities team. And finally, to our sponsor again, the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation. Be very safe and talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.